Exactly. We actually had a really good session now, just going through with Matt, Aubrey, Matt, Aubrey, Jack, and Nick, going through kind of like from start to finish the process of like pre-processing PDFs and then running them through the wizard. So I think we're feeling pretty confident on that. And now it's pretty exciting. We're going to take Mia and Benny through the writing of test scenarios. So like that's the first kind of testing that we're going to be doing. So it's all kind of moving forward. It's looking really good. I'm just going to wait a few more seconds.
Do we have anything after this? Are we going to try? Are you guys planning on meeting still after?
It's not a special day, if that's what you're asking. We have Management Mondays, Teaching Tuesdays, Casual Fridays.
Okay.
Michelle had suggested Whinging Wednesdays, so if people want to complain.
Okay. I just haven't been to a staff meeting at MLRI in about 2 or 3 months. They meet at the same time, so I always pick this over. But
we can't save you from that. I'm sorry.
No, I gotta go. I've got to go. I just hate to. Yeah. All right. I'll hop off at 1 and go that.
Okay. Yeah. No, that's fine. Today, I think after this call, I'm actually going to get on with Vinny and Mia just to talk about testing, and Vita's going to join us as well. Right. So I think most of us are here. Carry on.
I just want to say something first before we get started, because so we have really nice big news today on the 209A front. We have the court service centers have agreed to test in a number of their courts, do it with the beta test. So we're going to have they're going to test in Boston, Brockton, Greenfield, Lowell, Lawrence, and Worcester. And the court service centers are a big deal to sort of get this in there. So we're very excited that they're doing the beta test, which means it's going to start helping even more people now. So
that's fantastic news. Thank you so much for sharing that.
They're still doing with DV advocates, though, right?
They're doing it so the thing is, they have right now been getting inundated by calls themselves.
Right.
So I think they've been doing, so we can talk more about exactly what this means. Right now, it's very limited. It's only the managers of those courts who are going to be doing it. They're not going to be giving it out to it's not like they're taking it and giving it to people who call.
Yeah,
if that's your question. Yeah, no, that's not what they're going to do. So it's only the managers in those offices. They're going to hold on to it. They're not just giving it out to people. And they're going to test it and give us evaluations. They've already given us some nice feedback just from looking at it. So
that's fantastic.
Very exciting.
Great. Thank you for sharing that, David. I'm glad we're making progress on that. It's really, and the more people that we're able to help with it, it's going to be fantastic. Okay, so back to the normal stand-up. We're going to run through, see if anyone has any blockers, make sure that everyone has action points, kind of figure out what everyone's doing, and then move on to more readability tips from Caroline. Start thinking about what's happening with how are we going to move forward with TRO, if there's anything we need to do there. Obviously Dave's given us the update on the 209A, and if there's anything else that needs to be done on the eviction moratorium. And that's it. So hopefully we can get through this relatively quickly. I'm going to ask just straight up, does anyone have any blockers? And if they don't, then we'll go through every team by team, and then just figure out that everyone has action points to go forward. So does anyone have any blockers?
I have a couple of blockers, just because Quentin, did you get the message that we need help on the pro se eviction moratorium, which we're actually calling motion to dismiss non-essential eviction or essential eviction? Did you get our note on that?
I didn't. No, I wonder how I missed it. Was it on the thread and on Slack?
In Slack. Yeah, it is. Okay. Yeah. And then also I messaged you yesterday morning that I'm ready to merge, but I haven't had time to do it with you. So I just wanted to make sure, because I think sometimes you probably get 9 million messages. So I just wanted to, that's where we are with that.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. So maybe if you guys, maybe you could just flag that for Quentin, Caroline, that message again.
Can I just, I'm thinking, how you do these tutorials and people have a blocker. So I'm thinking about whether we could do another, a tutorial. So the blocker is, instead of using collect list to actually collect names when you have a, it's a group, isn't it? A dictionary? No, a list, a list. So I know we've done it 7,000 times, but it might be helpful to do it again if other people want. That's our blocker on the eviction moratorium. So I think other people might want to benefit from that.
Let's put that in. So doing a thing on collecting. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so there's a lot of the blockers, then we're just going to go through the teams and talk about action points going forward. So I know for a fact I'm meeting with Mia and Vinny to go over, they've kind of gone through the SME review and they're ready for testing now. So we're going to start with testing scenarios and just try and figure out, I'm going to guide them through that process. Then next on my screen, we've got Nick, and he is paired up with Jack. And we've just gone through pre-processing of the PDF, and we are, they've run the form through the wizard, and now they've got the task of debugging that. And as I said, guys, always welcome to pop on the code channel if you have any issues that you've been struggling with for more than 30 minutes. Then we've got James. Where's the rest of that team? James, do you want to just speak on behalf of you guys?
Yeah, I can speak. So we're pretty close, although we keep saying that. We met with Quentin this morning, and now there's some new language. So we were thinking maybe meeting with Kate, if that's possible, to go over some of the new language to see if that's okay. And other than that, we're pretty much good.
Okay, so maybe if you perhaps meet with Kate, Kate, I'm not sure what your availability is like, and you can discuss that offline. Yeah. What we could do is I can talk to Mia and Vinny and guide them through the initial, test scenarios, and then if we could try passing on that knowledge with Vinny and Mia, taking James, I think it's James, Jack, and Eleni. Is that the correct team?
Jason.
Right, sorry. Maybe you guys can try, depending on how well today goes, you guys can try taking them through and see how that goes. And they can just sit in and watch and chime in if necessary. So I'll leave James and Kate to liaise about doing SME review. And Kate, yeah, just let us know about your availability as well. You can do that offline if you've got other stuff. And then Aubrey and Matt Millward are going to do the marriage without delay. We've kind of done the pre-processing of the PDF now, but now they're going to run it through the wizard. So I'll leave that to you guys to do today, and then maybe we can get an update from you tomorrow about how that goes. And as always, jump on the code channel if you're having any issues. Then we've got Sinead and Finola. Where are you guys at?
So yeah, we're in the same boat. We are nearly done as well, and we said that yesterday. We had a meeting with Kate today, so we're working on a couple of tweaks, and we're kind of hoping to have these tweaks done by tomorrow's stand-up. So that's where we are.
So then we can go and we can maybe do it. It sounds like people are kind of getting to the same stage where it might be beneficial that we go through the testing thing together. Maybe let me just check in with Mike and Tyler. Where are you guys at?
So yeah, we're in the same place as well. We had a good meeting with Quentin yesterday, and he kind of got us to the point where we're understanding what we need to do. So I'm just finishing editing the docx document so that we can input all the answers. And if not tomorrow, we'll be done by Friday. Okay, perfect. So what I'm seeing here is that I'm going to take Vinny and Mia through the testing scenarios now after this call, figure out, how we're going to do that. And then we'll check in with James, Jason, and Eleni, and Finola and Sinead. And then perhaps after the stand-up, Mike and Tyler will be ready. And I'm envisaging like a passing on of knowledge here. I'm not sure if everyone, I'll talk to Mia and Vinny and make sure that they're okay with that. And obviously they'll sit in, so it won't just be all on them. Okay, next up, is there anyone that I missed? Lily, do we have any updates from you?
Hi, yes.
Hi.
I've been working on the automation of the tables in addendum file. I was able to do it, and then with Jonathan's help, I also put the code into a module. So now we can just call those functions and just give it the parameters, and it will give you the list of the text fields and also the list of tables. And then in the template addendum file, I can show you what it looks like quickly.
Do you want to? Yeah, we have some time. This is quite a quick meeting. We'd actually, I just want to make sure that everybody, we've all got action points going forward. I'm meeting with Anvita, Mia, and Benny afterwards. And we've kind of got the update from the 209A. There's only 2 other updates. Maybe what we could do is we could get those other 2 updates quickly and see how we're doing for time, Lily. And if we've got 5 minutes at the end, we can do that. So the other updates that I was looking for is the, now we're calling it something else, Caroline. What is it now? You're muted. Still muted.
There. It's motion to dismiss essential eviction. And we're not sure whether it should be non-essential eviction or essential eviction because the landlord's filing an essential eviction and they're dismissed. I think it should be essential eviction. I think that's what it should actually be called.
Okay, got it. So, and you said that there's an issue there with that you're going to talk to Quentin about.
Yeah, yeah. And I might be able to solve it on my own. I just haven't had time to sit down and not do anything else except that. And I mean, the thing is, I've done this before, like 5 times. I'm just stuck.
Is it so right now it's released to advocates, and we wanted to get it released to per se users, right? That's what.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of blocking that?
Yeah.
Is that the only thing that's blocking it?
Yep.
What time frame do we want to look at that release for per se users?
Well, we'd like to do it as soon as we can, but the thing is, Quentin and I are both booked for the rest of today.
Yeah.
So, I don't know if we can figure it. I mean, it's sort of, that's neck and neck with doing the 209A stuff.
Right.
I've pushed a merge request, but it's got some problems, so I've got to do that with Quentin as well. So maybe, depending on when we can find time, we could do the 2. Because it's harder to find a time to where we can work together, and we could maybe do them at the same time. I don't know, Quentin, what your thoughts are.
That sounds reasonable. I think probably what you're saying is you want to turn off the list collect and just gather it one screen at a time.
With an ask number. Yeah.
Okay. So that'll be really, really quick, I think, once we get it. And I think you're right that it's worth us recording it and writing down the steps so it becomes memory of the whole group.
That would be fantastic if you could just drop that in the chat.
Especially because it's one of the predefined variables.
Okay, so it's hitting a couple things at once, but it won't take long. I think that's probably good.
I know it won't take long. I just
like you said, it's finding the time.
Yeah, exactly.
And then the 209A.
Sorry.
Oh, I think the 209A. What my thought is to take a couple of hours to go through and look at the issues that you raised that I can do knock out on my own first. Then we can have a shorter time that we have to be on.
Okay.
We'll find it easier to find a window where we're both together that way.
Okay.
So I need that couple hour block for myself to.
Yeah, you gotta find some time.
Yeah.
I leave it to you two to just liaise amongst yourselves, and we'll get an update from you tomorrow at Standup.
Yep.
Okay.
That sounds good.
Great.
It probably will be tomorrow. Is my guess is that when we'll find that window tomorrow morning.
Got it. Okay. So is there anything else before we quickly have a look at what Lily's been working on, which is really exciting from the sense of, when you have something that you don't have enough space in your form, you're going to need an addenda. That's what Lily's been working on. So is there anything else before we go into that?
Yes.
Okay,
so I have a thing. For students, when you are experimenting with making new repositories for GitHub to transfer and all that kind of stuff, name them, and I'll try and post this in the channel, name them with the word test in them and with all or part of your GitHub username in them, because that will tell us that we can safely delete them, and we're going to delete them every, I don't know, every other day or every week or so, but we'll just, if there's one you don't want us to delete because you're still experimenting with it, let us know. But that way we know which ones are official and which ones we can safely remove if we need to. Thumbs up if that made sense to you.
Michelle, can you delete your, if I were going to push a test repository, once I've made Suffolk the owner, I can't delete it anymore, right?
No, you can't delete it anymore, but we can.
Yeah.
So I didn't see all thumbs up. For example, Michael, I didn't see a thumbs up there. And I did not see a thumbs up from Nicholas. Is there confusion? Or is there something I can clear up about the instructions? Thank you, Mia. And Vincent.
I think my question, I think I'm just gonna have to use it. So like, I still kind of, I'm like struggling to understand.
So when you make a name, just include test and your username, and then some other, whatever other text you want to include in there. But just make sure that those are in there.
Okay, just for right now, just while I'm playing around, like just while I'm putting stuff in, just make sure that test and my name are on there, so so other people can like identify it as mine. Okay, yeah, I got that. Thank you.
And I think it may or may not matter, but it might be worth saying that this is just for us to keep things neat and organized. It's not urgent. So if you want more time to play around with it, then ask for it.
Just let us know. Yeah.
And there's also, don't feel bad about adding a new file or even 10 by mistake. It's no problem. We're just going to try to clean it up so we can see it, get a good sense of what's important later.
There'll be no skin off our nose. We just need to know which ones. When we go through to clean up, we just need to know which ones. And what will be difficult is to go on each one and click inside and see what's going on in there and examine and try and figure that out. So this will help us not have to do that.
And I think, Michelle, you said you're just going to drop a message on the Slack as well, just to remind people about that as well, right?
Right. And if I don't, please remind me to. Thanks.
Okay. Adding it to my to-do list.
That was my thing.
To OneNote yesterday, and it's changed my life.
Yay!
So okay.
Hooray.
Are you okay?
Oh, the quirks.
It's
okay.
I'm good.
Okay.
That was a I haven't said words in a while voice. So
yeah.
Okay. I am sorry to lose the voice, but yeah, I'm good.
Okay. I think that wraps up everything. I think that if Lily, if you can do just max 10 minutes on just showing us what you've been working on, it'll be really interesting for people to see, especially if they're going to be incorporating, or when they're going to be incorporating addenda into their forms or interviews.
Okay, sure. Let me share the screen. So here's the code where you can just, this is for a table, you give it a heading, you give it a title, and then you just call this function, and then you get your result. And if it's a text field, you just give the field name, the limit for the text length, how long you want to cut
the characters.
And then you give like a title of that text field. Then you get your output. So here I did it twice. And this is the output. So here you get a table, and then you get a list of your fields. And then here, this is the template itself. So what we have here is the table itself, and here is just a list of the text fields. What I'm working on now is this format, because in the table, the fields in the table can be all kinds of in all kinds of formatting. So right now I can deal with string, I can deal with like currency, but as you can see here, I'm having trouble with dates. For date, I cannot. I don't know how to detect if a field is of a date type. So I don't know if Quentin or anyone knows.
Can you simply put the output of the field? Do you have to format it?
I need to format it. That like this is just out of the field itself. It doesn't look good. So I want to format it into a date that's nicer looking.
Lily, what if you made another variable that collected? So basically you have your date variable, then you have a string variable that is the date variable formatted, and then the string variable goes in your table.
Didn't Quentin say that you can use, maybe I misunderstood this, but that you can use doc assembled functions in docx in Jinja or whatever?
You can, yeah. So, and Python.
So you could just do, so Python functions, or or doc assemble as well?
Yeah, I've been trying a few things. Hasn't worked. So
because I think doc assemble has a date formatting function, and you could try it. You could do possibly a try catch. I don't know. You'd have to test out what happens if you do that to a thing that's not a date, right?
Right, but before you format it, you have to know it is a date. That's
So
where
I think isn't there a doc assemble way to test that? I thought.
Well, it's a Python thing. So, but can you tell us, Lily, is format item, that's the function that you wrote with Jonathan's help?
No, this one I wrote in.
Oh, it's a macro. Oh, it's a
macro,
I
right,
see.
right.
It's a Jinja macro, interesting.
Right. So I was trying to say, okay, if X
okay,
is
you have
date,
is string.
and didn't work.
So you have is string. Is that a Jinja thing, string? Because it would be str in Python.
Yes.
Okay.
It's a Jinja thing. It actually does work.
The Python function that you're looking for is called is_instance. So I will put the syntax.
Oh,
you already found that. You tried it already. Okay.
I tried that.
It may not work in a macro.
So I tried here is_instance. It didn't do anything.
So I don't think it's datetime.datetime. I think it would be a DA datetime.
Oh, okay. So I don't need
Capital
to do this.
D. Try that.
Okay, good.
I mean, I assume that the DA datetime subclasses datetime.datetime. So that I might be wrong about what the problem is that you're running into.
That's good. That's good. I can give this a try. So,
but is_instance checks the most recent class, right? It doesn't dig into. Does it dig into to inherited classes?
Yes, it does.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it doesn't just find is it only this class, but
it'll
go all the way. It will go up the chain basically.
Okay.
And it will match whichever one. It'll keep going until it tries and finds a match until it gets all the way up to the base object class.
Okay.
Okay, so definitely I'll give this a try. For now, I have another question, which is, once I get over this format, where do we want the this module to reside? Like here's where all this code is.
It'll go in potentially in every PDF. So I like it to go in the MA virtual court repository. We're going to try to take other stuff out of it that doesn't need to be, but this seems like a good thing to go in there. And it makes sense to keep it in its own module file like you're doing. And then we can include it in the basic questions file, import it in the basic questions file, that is. So it's available to everybody.
Yeah, so okay, so that's definitely one way. Another thought I have is that maybe we just create a standalone kind of interview that hosts this kind of module code. Anyone who wrote a module, we just put them into that interview, and then for other projects, they can just call with one line of code, call a specific module. Then they don't have to import all the code into their own project. Does that make sense?
You could abstract it more. So that would be a package simply for creating these templates is what you're suggesting, as opposed to one that also does the other stuff MA Courts does?
Right, exactly. So what I was thinking, like, for example, if we have, let's, just for example, it's called a utility interview. And in this interview, we have a module, and then we create a symbol, just like what I have here as a sample interview that display how you actually call that module, how it works for you. That way, if people wanted to understand it, they can come here and understand. If they don't care to understand it, they can just use one line of code and say, we import this module that's called whatever, and then they can just use the function or class whatever in the module.
That sounds like a good idea, Lily. I wonder what the right level of abstraction is, if there are other things we want to put together with this and call it something like utilities, or if this is its own repository that just has the addendum stuff.
It could start as its own, and then if we find that there's other addenda stuff that would be useful, other PDF or docx stuff that would be useful, we could broaden it.
So I'm just looking at the time quickly. It's 1 o'clock and it's
sure.
time to wrap up, but I think that this is a very important conversation, and I think that perhaps, Lily, you're not really on Slack, are you?
I am.
You are?
She is on Slack, yeah.
I don't ever see you pop up. Sorry, Lily.
She's
just drop me a message. Just spam me.
She's not very chatty, that's the thing.
And also, I'm not there every day. That's another problem.
Yeah.
I think that this is a conversation that we should definitely continue, but I'm wondering if you might just put something in the Slack to remind us that this is something we need to talk about, because I think that it is time to sign up for today. Everyone's got their points. Okay. The only thing we're missing is the readability tip from Caroline.
Oh, let me skip today.
Okay. Wow, that sounds rough.
Are you out of readability tips already? That's shocking.
No, I'm not out of tips. It's just this trying to explain it is hard to do. If I'm starting talking about gerunds or participial phrases or that kind of stuff, I don't want to do that in 1 minute.
Okay. Well, thank you for. We'll catch up with you tomorrow then.
I've got a document I could share with people, and they can identify whether it's active or passive and how to make it be active. We could do that.
Okay. That could be a fun task, like grammar.
Okay.
I like that idea. That's a good idea.
Yeah. I was actually reading an article about how important it is for everybody to learn about readability. Thank you guys so much for all your time.
You should share it.
Points. I don't want to look like the lame nerd who reads about that in their spare time.
It's not lame, it's cool.
All right, give me the link and I'll read it and I'll share it.
Yeah.
Bye, guys.
I do want to, hey, before everyone jumps off.
Before we jump off.
Sorry.
I'm going to stop recording.